This is not advice. This is a message. Today, we're talking about the real matrix construct. Insight one: context and constructs. Reality is a construct built from context, potential, and probability. Your brain helps you have a fluid experience by filling in gaps of information. Witnessing full reality is impossible. It would just basically be a mess of data. It would be impossible to discern or perceive or interpret. Your brain selectively chooses what gets into your awareness based on whatever your system decides is important. It creates stories about who you are and what happens to you so that life and your memories make sense. But even when you're having memories, it's a memory of a memory. And whatever missing information there is, your brain fills in with whatever makes sense so that you just have a clean, fluid experience. Allowing and accepting more awareness changes the way you experience construct because there is more you're not perceiving yet. It updates your mind's predictive system, your identity, and your beliefs and your patterns. Everything dates when you witness more. So your reality hasn't changed. Your position and your perspective in it has changed. Method one: notice novelty. You don't have to go running off on exotic vacations or do crazy things or be a daredevil to find novelty. It's everywhere all the time. There's always more reality than we ever realize. And when you practice paying attention, you'll notice even more around you than you ever thought possible. Things that you see every day, especially, can surprise you if you're not paying attention. And suddenly you notice something different. You're like, oh, that's changed. It always was that way. You just didn't notice it. And the mind does this, it perpetuates patterns for safety to preserve energy and, you know, give known loops and information. It's a predictive system that wants certainty. And if you can give it safety, it will allow more into your awareness. Insight two: monitoring mental models. Your brain creates mental models of the world, your body, and of itself in all of these situations in order to predict safety or success. So, understanding your values, your traits, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions are more than just self awareness. They're clues to how you will behave in any given situation. Often we behave based purely on our nervous system, emotions, just the feedback of the moment, and the decisions are made before we're even aware a decision is being made. But the better you understand yourself, the easier it is to create an interrupt in the system and change the program simply by witnessing it changes. Like you can make decisions and you can, tell your system, hey, I want this to be this. And you can change your habits. You can change them in the physical world. It helps. It does. But even just witnessing it can alter your behavior in your system because it has updated your neural wirings and your connections and those associations and interpretations that you make. And so it will have to adjust the trajectory of the story based on this new information. So, method two: notice, name, now. Pause as often as possible to fully pay attention to one thing you're experiencing. It will train your awareness to interrupt the autopilot. You don't have to do anything. Again, you don't have to do things. You can if you choose to, if it feels like, intuitively the right thing to do to take action. Yes, but just observing is going to rewire your neurons. And sometimes you'll get fallout from that, like a little bit of maybe you'll feel a little bit sick or a little bit feverish. And it's just your nervous system adapting to the rapid rewiring of your brain, updating information. It takes a lot of energy to do that. Remember, the brain's energy efficient. So sometimes it's going to resist these changes. And that's where we come into insight three: patterns, processes, and preferences. Systems are supported by repetition, recognition, and reinforcement. what is salient, what is underlyingly important to the system. And you can have something consciously important to you, but whatever the system deems important gets prioritized. Your system is far more dominant than your ego. So it's always important to keep that in mind. And social reinforcement is one of those things that's very influential. Mimicry is a natural form of connection and shared experience. And people often become what's expected of them by their society. And it's just a point of comfort and safety in wanting to belong and to have a place and an understanding of who you are. And it can be really challenging sometimes to try to go off and do that on your own. So, don't judge yourself if you feel like you want to follow what other people expect sometimes, and that's okay. As long as you are doing it true to yourself and not just to please them at the expense of yourself. And boundaries draw the line between your reality and theirs. So practice patience and acceptance of your current patterns or of your current state. It's okay to be where you are. It's okay to be human. And you can modify habits that don't match your values. You can create new scenarios, new alternative paths for your brain to follow. So, method three, pause and predict. What will you do next? Pause often to try to predict what your next action will be. And, what need or desire inspired it? And observe what you actually do versus what you thought you'd do in any given situation. Practice making those active choices with full awareness. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and sign up for the Method Muse newsletter in the description below.